low key. I'm not going to be teaching something new. It's going to be about the recap. It's going to be about taking next steps in that way in terms of organizing your business. So I wanted to yeah, give a chance for folks to uh come with your business questions. Where are you at right now? What are you? Yes, thank you. Recording in progress. Uh so hold on one second. Okay, so I am going to come on from another computer as well, just to give my support staff here, Richie, a chance to admit people that are coming in as we're doing the session. But as I mentioned, I'm really excited that we're here. I'm going to do a little bit of a recap, but really this is your time where we can dive into some Q&A. So my question for every entrepreneur that's on the call thus far, what is keeping you up at night? Hello, anyone out there?
Hi
Bernadette,
there.
I'll start with you. What's keeping you up at night as you think about your business, as you think about, things that we've covered thus far? Where are you at? CK and Shelly, I'll come to you next. Is there life on the other side? Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. This is Shelly.
Hey, Shelly, thanks so much.
Uh, what keeps me up at night? It's a mix of a few things. So I work at Chrysler and we've been out of work for almost 2 years now. We don't know what the future holds for the plant. So that is partly why I'm trying to find multiple streams of income all of a sudden. And one thing I've been trying to do for some time was to finish a book that I started. So I'm still piecing things together, and so that besides the uncertainty with uh, future plans with the plant, that would be the next thing that's heavy on my heart. But I hope that as I'm working on that, I'm also looking at um, things that I could do that support it. It's a book about hair and hair, maintaining hair. And the major factor is stress. So when I'm overstressed, that's one of the reasons why I lose a lot of hair. So it's almost like, why would anybody want to take it serious when I'm still struggling? But I think there's something in that it's like things might not be perfect, but I'm trying to find the science behind the stuff to help give people confidence that, masking it, covering it up somehow is not the only way of dealing with it. I'll just stop there.
Hey, no, thank you, Shelly. One second, I think there's an echo. Hey, Shelly. Is that better? I think that's a little bit better. Yeah,
It's good.
I wanted to just say thanks for sharing, and definitely, the situation that has happened with Chrysler and things like that. A lot of people have shifted, reskilled, done different things, and it's great to hear that you're working on a book. The question that I would have for you is, what do you hope that book would do for you, right? Many people write books for different reasons. I'm also working on a book as well, I would share. And that was a question my mentor asked me, right? If you look at books in and of itself, the truth is writing a book and trying to sell, over thousands of copies, it's actually not very profitable as a whole. But is it possible that you can leverage that book to maybe open spaces, platforms where you can be speaking, where you can do more with the book, right? And using that as an opportunity to open additional doors. One of the book recommendations that I was given at the time as well. It's called Book the Business. I'm just going to get it and put the link in the chat. Book the Business. Um, really, very insightful. I actually just recently got the book, started reading it, and the most famous author that you may know probably hasn't made a lot of money from the book. I mean, there's some how could I say, some exemptions to that statement, obviously. But it's what the book did for them that has generated them the money, right? Especially if you go through a traditional publishing house and different things like that, the royalty that you may get is 10%, right? So, or the royalty on the highest end that was mentioned based on what I got from the book, is could be up to 25. So if you think about that, the profiting from the book could be very marginal. The beautiful thing is that you write a book and you have that option for lifetime opportunities in that way. But I will give you the challenge. Just consider, what do you want the book to do for you? I think your other point around, you may still be going through, the situation or the thing that you're trying to resolve and tell the story and encourage people about. I don't think I think best books, and from my own personal reading experience, it's oftentimes to hear that triumph story, right? But if you're doing the book potentially in the full, looking by, you're not just one book and buy, you have an opportunity to invite readers.
Sorry, something happened to the sound.
Oh, yeah, I think, sorry. I sorry. I think I'm trying to fix the echo. So the computer just moved a little. But what I was saying is, you could invite people to follow you along until you solve for it, right? Solve for that problem that you're working on. Let me just try to see if I can fix the sound as we get the other persons involved as well, and to get some feedback from you, Shelley. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Yes, so I think we fixed our echoing situation. But Shelley, what are your thoughts on what I just shared?
So I do agree that the book itself is a platform that can lead to a lot more. I am. It's funny. Like I like training, but I don't see myself as a public speaker. But I would say that they're adding guides, like journal guides, is part of the book, and I think that is kind of handy because when people are considering not just the progress with their hair, but with their diet, with just things like dealing with stress. There are different parts of it that I think make it interactive. And so it's not just, a book that like I feel like people can personalize it. And that might be something that adds to it.
Hey, awesome. And yeah, I would say if it's not writing a full publishing book right now, if that's not where you are, if you want to get to that point, hey, I have a formula, I have, a methodology for solving for a specific problem or championing a specific cause, you could definitely start leveraging and building out your brand today, right? You don't have to wait until the book is finished. Is it possible to be dropping bite-sized content out to the viewers or to, people that have that specific need and are looking for either community or support to be able to do it, right? So I think just in terms of what you shared, and there's a space for you to start. I think one of the biggest things for entrepreneurs, and whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever you're doing for your business, sometimes we overthink and don't start. And it's not about, as you would have heard me, if you're tuning in for the first time or before, I might have shared, I've worked with clients who have invested a lot without truly understanding what the market needs and how to sell to the market, right? So the demand is there. People have hair loss, all of the different things. They have a need, and it's now, okay, who can help me, right? So it's really about positioning yourself sooner rather than later. You can put out a landing page, and we're going to be talking about some marketing efforts in a little bit as well. But just to see who's interested, right? Interested in having these types of conversation, interested in purchasing something, as a way to get the support. So thanks so much, Shelly, for jumping in. And I see that you put your information in the chat. Thank you so much. And that goes to everyone, right? An opportunity to continue to share and connect. So today, for those of you that just joined us, Bernadette, I know you was having some technical difficulties. Today is really kind of a little bit of a pulse check. We went through we talked about the numbers, looked at the financial statements yesterday, not statements, but looked at the spreadsheet whereby we can start thinking about our cash flow, revenues needed, all of those things, as well as where we have come thus far, talking about, the values all the way through to some of the numbers, right? And so today is kind of a little bit of a pulse check. Have you done the homework? Where are you on your business journey? I love the fact that the majority of people that have shown up for these sessions are business owners, so you're running. So the question that I started and Shelly participated with is, what's keeping you up at night? So Bernadette, I'll go back to you if you're hearing me. CK as well. The floor is yours, and Anne as well. Anyone can feel free to, what's keeping you up at night?
I have a quick one for you.
Hey.
So multitasking again, but what keeps me up at night is what I'm about to start and have started.
Okay.
So when we have events, I run a food bank on Fridays from Second Harvest, and I think what we are missing in this whole market for any of us that need events and volunteer is a volunteer organization pool of persons, retired, young people that needs hours for school, or people just needs Canadian experience, right? So I started that platform on Facebook because I think it's essential to all growing business that when you cannot afford to pay someone, of course, AI is available now. Not everybody's comfortable with a robot, that you can get good volunteers to assist you on your journey. And then you can have an agreement with them. When I can afford to pay you, then this is what we can talk about and have that in a contract. So important, volunteers, and getting that pool of serious people out there, because there's a lot of people doing serious volunteer work. And I think that was keeping me up at night. How do we get these people? Where do we get these people from? How do we start that pool to generate these amazing people? And I did that. So I'm kind of having less sleepless nights now about
Awesome. So if you want to put the link to your Facebook group on there, if you're saying, students,
Yep.
whosoever is willing to plug in, I think it would be a great platform, as you said, right? I think sometimes people that are retired, or, I was listening to my dad talk to one of his past boss, and the conversation was like, I'm back to work. And he's like, what do you mean you're back to work? You said you were retiring. He said, for 3 years sitting at home, I got bored.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so a lot of people are looking for opportunities. And I think if you can definitely facilitate that community of volunteers, it's a great thing. So yeah, please share. And so is it your non-for-profit arm, your food bank?
Yeah.
What is it all about? What does it do?
Yeah, it definitely is a non for profit, sorry. Um I started it because I'm big on food security, and because food crises are crazy right now, it's important that we have a a good food bank. And this food bank is amazing. It's not all cans, it's second harvest. They're amazing. Fresh vegetables, fruits, cheeses. I mean, we get an array of different stuff. And I give back to another fellow community and the church with our overflow, because try to share the love, try to, if we have enough and other communities don't have enough, I then, one of my girlfriends, she's amazing, she picks up our overflow food, takes it to the next community who is in sorely need of it, and of course our neighboring church. And the reason is this: some local food banks is different. We're shop, it's a shop concept, it's not a pack concept. That means people come in, they pick whatever they want, and they leave, and it's every single Friday, because we have to change the way we do those types of things. And food bank faces are changing on the landscape right now, and people don't want to pick up bags. They want to be able to come in, choose what they want, because they know what kind of food they eat, they know what they need for that week or whatever they need. And that's the concept in which I have, it's like giving back pride to people when you're coming to get food. And it's an amazing opportunity for people to work in food bank, because it looks great on college applications, university applications, because universities and colleges are always asking, what do you do to give back to community?
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, feel free to drop the link. And I don't know where the geographically, like if the group of volunteers are specific to one region, but I think the beautiful thing is you've started something that can inspire somebody else to do
Yep.
a volunteer call out in their own neighborhood if that doesn't span in those directions, right? So that's really cool. And
Here.
uh, hey, Brenda, thanks so much for joining us. We're just doing a little pulse check recap of where we are. It is 9 of 24, and just a chance to understand what are some of the things that's keeping entrepreneurs up at night, and to be able to see if we can help find some solutions. But really, once we do this check-in, diving into, where we at in our business, what's happening, because one of the things that, talking to an entrepreneur earlier today, what's keeping them up is not enough revenue, right? People are looking to access capital. However, when we look at their day-to-day activity, and that's some of the things that I want to kind of center our talk on as we prepare for the following sessions that's coming next, right? So, Brenda, I don't know if you want to share what's keeping you up at night.
I'm I'm trying to drive in. Yeah, my own is the same thing, finance. Just something to keep the business going. Definitely, good capital turnover and stuff like that. So it's like the flow. You know what I mean? Not that you don't have the clients coming and stuff, but you want to maintain a good amount of clientele that you can sleep at night, because that clientele is going to generate your finance for either the rent. You know what I mean? And at times these days, people just fluctuate in terms of their clientele. They will come for a few months and then they disappear. And you try to get them back, but then it's just not stable.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at ways to maintain, repeat clients, but on a constant basis, so that at least I know my rent is paid. Thank God I use for New Life, the virtual office, which help with you. Empower X is helping us with virtual office. That helps a lot. But we still need to, top it up with other clientele. So it's finance, but in the area of having a stable clientele that, at least for a month, my 10 clients, I want to generate the rent or generate, the insurance or something. So I'm just looking for strategies of how I'm going to get that flowing.
Yeah, no, thanks
Thank
so much, Brenda, for sharing. And yeah, we will definitely be spending a lot more of our time together today talking about that. But one thing that I would just say, when we think about, our businesses, the question, and as I introduced myself before, I sit as a business strategist, business coach, first and foremost, where we love to spend our time, so specializing in marketing services to our clients from a consulting angle, which we do. What I would say to all entrepreneurs when they come to sit with me one-on-one or utilize our service, we go back to these foundational pieces, right? So the question is, what is the problem you're solving for? And if you don't, you want like the word problem, what is the need? What is the desire that exists in the marketplace and you use the word that I wanted to say is opportunity, that you're seeing an opportunity to be filled, right? And I love that. You saw a need and you're saying, hey, I have solved for X, right? And I think part of your business model that you're doing with your volunteers is really efficient. So the question then becomes, for organizations that are leveraging volunteers, great, with a promissory note of future pay, can they go to these applicants and say, I will be able to pay you when I achieve X? Or is it just a fairy tale or wishful thinking? I don't want to say fairy tale, wishful thinking, but is it not realistic, right? Sometimes, and depending on the nature of your organization, and for my folks, as business owners, we should have number projections clear. For nonprofits, obviously, we know that sometimes the business model is solely depending on grants and funding, that is not guaranteed income. The more strategic we're seeing nonprofits shift to become more, social enterprise oriented, whereby the nonprofits have the capacity to also generate its own revenue, which based on the funding landscape, again, we are seeing more funds go towards organization that can demonstrate sustainability. So yes, if we're just here giving out stuff for free and that's your model, great. If you're saying we want to be able to give stuff, but we also have a way for sustainability, that's a more stronger story, right? Because as we know, Shelley shared, the Chrysler issues, lots of changes is happening in the economy, and everybody is saying, I need help. Can we sustain offering the help is the question ultimately that we want, right? Not just for today, but could we be able to do this 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now? I went to, I am also a Rotarian, and I went to a conference this past week, and one of the clubs that was at the Rotary Club, a Rotary convention, celebrated 100 years of community impact. I will say 100 years of community impact. I was like, that is amazing, right? And that model is volunteer based. People who have financial capabilities and time to spend, they are volunteering themselves in a proactive way to be able to fund different community initiatives. That is one model. Rotary clubs aren't writing grants, they aren't doing things in that way, but they figured out different activities to raise funds that they can give away, right? So depending on what you're doing, and I share that example to just say, do you know your business model? Is it sustainable? Because if they've been doing this for 100 years, they clearly have a sustainable way of doing it. And most Rotary clubs have revenue generating activities for themselves to sustain their operational expense, plus give an impact, right? So I just share that from a nonprofit side, but we're business owners here, and we're not talking about freemiums in that way, right? I think freemium as a business model, it's one way to start, but it's not sustainable. You could look at any organization or any tool that started with a freemium, they've now gone, hey, the free is much less time period, so 2 weeks to 14 weeks. Maybe you get even a 30-day trial, but after that, money is expected, right? So Brenda, I go back. What is the problem? What is the thing that we're solving for? Are there enough people with this need or demand? So that's one, right? So we talk about the problem and who has the problem. So this talks about the demand, right? Sometimes people aren't aware that they have a problem. So now the question becomes, can I create the demand, right? And that's also part of our work. Sometimes we have to go on the corner and say, hey, I exist. And people, oh, I didn't even know I needed that. Okay, I'll come this way, right? Which is part of being an entrepreneur, right? We are creating different avenues to enhance demand over time. But if you're about to say, listen, I'm about to, make an entire city, nation buy my product who don't want my product, we may have a problem, right? So this is where we need to get really clear. And we're going through these foundational pieces to get to that point, right? To refine that point. The beautiful thing is you've made $1 before, you've made $1,000 before, you've made a sale before, many sales. Let's just figure out, to your point, is it possible to be reoccurring, right? Is it possible to be sustainable for overall operations and not only operations, we want to be profitable, right? I think that's where we want to get our businesses to be in that way. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few. But just wanting to hear, I saw Bernadette has stepped away. Anyone else before we dive into our recap?
Oh, hi everyone. It's CK Share. How are
Hey,
you?
hey, doing well.
Yeah, so for me, I don't know, my business was it's been on life support for a little while because of personal, like an injury that I have and stuff like that. So I'm thinking of trying to like relaunch it in 2026. But then also now, like one of the suppliers had reached out to me for my greeting cards, but they're a US based company. And I'm a little bit reluctant because of the tariffs. And because before I used to pay an arm and a leg just to have some of the products shipped from the US, and now you're going to add tariffs on top of it. And then the other alternative is like getting artists. So I have collaborated with artists to design the cards, but that's a whole long process as well. And so, yeah, just trying to figure out the most cost-effective way to do the cards going forward.
Yeah,
Back to
and
you.
Share, thanks so much for sharing. And I forgot, CK, your cards are very beautiful. And I love it. And
Yeah.
you're experiencing something that many business owners are experiencing to date, right? I think the cross-border challenges is causing people to reimagine what their business could look like, right? And so for yourself, I will definitely say if you're using this time period to, one, revisit the market, like what has card sales in general done over the next year, right? Over the past year or past 2 years, right? If there is that continued momentum and growth, I would say without a shadow of doubt, keep doing it, find local, right? Like we just have to get to the local market, local artists. And that, as you said, it's another way of doing it. Unfortunately, if you're seeing the trends for cards and, I think in the traditional sense, right? Digital cards are continuing to show up in my mailbox, right? More than, Canada post-strike, but all of the above, right? So considering just understanding what's happening in the industry. I think it was Anne or Brenda that mentioned, AI is impacting a lot of how businesses are operating today. So the question becomes, am I moving with trend or out away from the trend, right? And I'm not saying that everybody needs to be involved in the AI shift and all of this stuff, but I'm saying we need to be like you must. I'm not saying it's a must, but if you're considering about how our businesses can become more efficient, we do not want to be like the horse and buggy industry. We do not want to be like Blockbuster. We do not want to be like where the writing's on the wall and people didn't act, or the writings on the wall and sadly some industries will get closed completely as well, right? And even roles and positions and things like that. So my message to all entrepreneurs, whether you're considering to restart or start. So Shelly, you said you're about to start building momentum. Put out a land, Shay, I know you have a website. You could still put out posts to the point of saying, asking the question, put a landing page. Hey, what do you want? Hey, when you're dropping that in different groups, gathering people's emails. So when the cards are ready, you could say, hey, I have your email. Thank you so much. So you could still be engaging in a lead capture type of format to test what your next move should be as well, right?
Yeah,
I
that's a good
love
idea.
I love landing pages. We build a lot of them for our clients, lead magnets, but not because you're not selling shouldn't be you're not, you know, doing that market research to tell you what to do next, right? Because to your point, the tariff cost or the investment that needs to come back into the business is going to affect the entire cash flow. It's going to affect your price point. And these are the things we want to know and understand what the market is doing to help inform us about what we should do next.
Thank you so much.
Hey, awesome. Bernadette, what's keeping you up at night?
Oh, I can't get out of this damn day job. What's keeping me up at night is, just taking that leap of faith and saying, Lord, order my steps and let me leave this and do my accounting full time. I know I can be so successful at it. I just can't make that leap. Oh, Lord, give me strength.
Listen, and all the strength, it's so amazing that you say that. I got up this morning and I'm praying and I said, Lord, order my steps today. So the words that you just said, I said, give me the strength for today. And honestly, I'm here because of him, right? So I just give thanks to God because I know that I can't do it on my own strength. So my invitation to anyone, it's not, there's a higher power. Go find that higher power. I can talk to you about my higher power. Jesus is my Lord and he keeps me grounded, right? And one of the things that I would say is that when I made that leap, Brenda, and that leap came with a lot of prayers and all of the stuff, looking at the numbers, is it the right time? But I will honestly say, when I first begun my entrepreneurship journey officially in 2014, 2015, thereabouts, I was actually working for a nonprofit. So if anybody knows anything, I love nonprofits. But the story about nonprofits is when the funding runs out, oftentimes the doors are closed. And that was my story, right? And from that, I was like, I went into property management, I did different things, but I love speaking and training. So I ended up starting out in that way in full. Momentum, right? All we need for all of our business is momentum. And what is momentum determined on? Clients. Can we acquire a client? And if the answer is no, not yet, it does not mean no, never, right? So no, not yet means that we just need to get moving, speak to them, engage with them, convert them, right? One of the things in my own story, I had momentum. I always tell people when I started marketing, I was booked solid for 4 months, every single day in a school, a classroom, an office, boardroom, talking about leadership, community engagement. And it was sweet. I loved it. And what happened is that 4 months of being in the classroom and in the training spaces meant nobody was marketing my business because the business depended on me in order to market, to sell, to do the work. It was all me. So after my long days, I was tired. I was not going to go back out there. So after the 4 months, sadly, it was almost as if I had to restart my business, right? Because you're now going back out, knocking all of this stuff. So I went off 4 months of harvest to then 4 months of famine because I'm like, okay, who wants my service? And you're showing up to sales meeting, and because your bank account is empty, you're like, you need to buy, and that energy comes out on the people, right? Not good. But what I share this story just to say, whether you are a solopreneur, you have to understand the pros and cons of your business, right? If everything depends on you, it's okay for a season, but we have to get out of that season very quickly for efficiency, if I can say it like that, right? So after that period, I realized like I was really struggling, and it was a decision that I made to go back into part-time work because I wanted I know I will, my entrepreneurship dream was not going to die, right? So I made the decision to go into part-time work while I was still building my business. And at that time period as well, really shifting from just speaking and training, but really now doing it for entrepreneurs, and supporting businesses in that way. I was acquiring additional skills and training to help build my overall capacity as well. And at that time, I had gotten a contract with Sheridan Edge. And I came in to just do one workshop. And one workshop turned into many workshops. And then it turned into a part-time contract. And then it turned into a full-time contract. It was because I was serving entrepreneurs. I love everything that I do. Work-wise, entrepreneurship is part of the conversation. And so I made the decision to take that full-time job. But I also had behind my mind, this was not a forever thing. At the same time, when taking that full-time job, I said, I think I have shared this. Ryan and I had connected in that season. I think they're about 2026, 2025. Yeah, sorry, not 2026, 2015, 2016. So yeah, just thinking back to that time period. And we read a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And I recommend it to every single entrepreneur that I engage with because it changed my mindset about how to do business more efficiently. So business from going from myself to now thinking about how can I run my business and I not be the bottleneck. So it forced me to actually make my first hire. So at the time, 2019, Empowered for X was reformatted, restructured. We had our first co-working space, and I hired somebody full-time to be in the business, run the business while I went to work. So I became my first investor, and then the crazy thing, so he was there 9 to 5, and then 5 to event times that we had 5 to 9 in the evening. I was leaving Sheridan to come to Empowered to do the evening shift, right? So my business, as I said, I really wanted my business to do what I needed it to do for myself. And so, and for the community, because I had this dream. And for 2.5 years, I committed to being the best employee and while running Empowered Facts. And that the pandemic happened, all of those things. And in that season, 2021, I think I made the decision I'm no longer employable. My income was able to match what the company was able to do with our other organization. Ryan, the team had put in some time to be able to secure additional funding, and I left, right? Now operating in my own entities that I've either co-founded or created on my own. So I share that to say it's sometimes not linear and nobody is looking at you anyhow because you're working full time. Forget about those people. You know your own story, you know your own journey. And I share that just to encourage you, Brenda, if that, sorry, Bernadette, if that is, a vision you have for yourself, it truly comes down, Madam Bookkeeper, to numbers. Numbers. It is a numbers game. That's how I talk about it. It is a
I know
numbers.
10 more clients, Chris Beth, 10 more clients I can do it.
Hey, listen, and it is doable.
It is doable.
Halifax is one place, but I'm sure you could serve clients all across Canada, right? But what I would just say to you, Bernadette, is really what are you doing to attract new conversations? Because businesses close based on conversations. Hey, can we meet? How can we have a one-on-one? What do you do? You're not trying to sell right away. We need to build relationship, right? So if you look at your calendar for the next week, Bernadette, what I would encourage you is if you are talking to less than 10 people per day, this is not serious business.
Okay.
And I say that with all the grace and the love, and that goes to everybody here. Listen, when one of my business coach said to me, Chris, but how many people in the last week did you talk to that fit your customer profile? And I was like, one, I couldn't remember right away. So I said maybe 3 people. You know what he said to me? Is this a business or is this a hobby? So I got that mirror to the face. If we are serious entrepreneurs, we need to be doing serious client acquisition activities as our primary goal, especially in these stages where we are solopreneurs, a team of 2, early teams. Our focus, 80% of our time should be spent on client acquisition. So he shared 10 at the time, it was cold calling and all of this stuff. His thing was 10 people before 10 a.m. That was the challenge that we have. And I give that challenge to all of you that's here and myself included. We need to be in front of clients. We don't have a money issue. We have a conversation issue. We're not talking to enough people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
Hey, awesome. I think we got everybody. And yeah, I mean, the time has flown. And it's funny, Bernadette, what you shared, and I think with Brenda as well. Folks, we have to know the research, right? I think if you have that profile of your customer, I oftentimes say my customers before the pandemic, my customers during the pandemic, and my customer post-pandemic remain the same entrepreneur, but their buying habits changed, right? Shelley shared and Share as well talked about tariffs. It's a real thing affecting real people's lives on the ground. Has your consumer buying habit changed? If you don't know, we're just making assumptions that everything is the same, right? So these are some of the intimate questions that we have to be able to ask, find the answers to, so we're not guessing. And again, the power of a lead magnet, I will share that. Put up a page. I follow a gentleman, Daniel Priestley. If you're not familiar with his stuff, I will try to find the link and share it with you all tomorrow. But he talks about the landing page, and I love what he says about it, right? It's truly a tool before you go and make a massive investment to determine whether this new business is going to go the way that you want, or you might be considering to put out a new product, a new service, a new thing, whether or not there is a demand for it. And you and I know that millions of web pages exist. So you just putting up a web page is not the end of the story. You have to put the web page where people are of your profile that you have in mind will be found, right? So creating that page, asking some key questions, and getting people to give you their emails. If they want to give you their email, you say, okay, I have something. That will facilitate me to go deeper. Bernadette, if you're saying, hey, bookkeeping, I have not looked at your website. I'm happy to look at everyone's website and give you some feedback. If you put your website in the chat, I'll make sure we save it, and within the 24 days, I'll work with my team to give you some feedback on your website. But one of the things is, are we saying, is our website built for us, or is the website built for the people, right? The thing about SEOing, and I'm learning not only just about SEO, but if you're not familiar, AEO is a thing as well. Anyone know what AEO is about? I'll pause quickly, see if anyone knows. AEO. Yes or no in the chat, or unmute. AEO.
No.
No.
N-O.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. So quick thing. So everybody, I am biased. I love Google's browser over everybody else's browser. Anyone else a Google browser? I cannot speak to the other browsers, but I do say away. So yes. Okay. So Google, you go to Google and you say, Google, and ask your question. What comes up now is the AI overview from Gemini. I don't know if you've noticed that, Bernadette, but you no longer have to scroll down to find the answer. AI produces the answer for you at the top. And if you look beside the answer, they give you options of people or companies that have produced content about that thing. I discovered this recently. Sometimes the options of the content that's being produced does not match the links on the home page anymore. On that first page, they sometimes different. So I'm like, why? I'm ranking on page 1. Why is my content not coming up there, right? So I will say this, and I give testament to my team. I am not here by myself. We continue to do great work because of the team, the marketing team that we have here that works for us internally as well as externally. We ranked. So I asked, what is a virtual office in Brampton? And when we did that, it was making recommendation, and one of it says E4 empowered for X. I was like, yes, we're ranking. So my invitation to you, and you do legal service, see if your website's ranking, right? But the point of SEO, AEO, and your website, I come back to the website, the web pages, the landing pages you're creating, it has to be SEO'd well. And what that simply means is that you need to know what's inside of your client's brain. In the sense, when they sit at Google, what are they searching for to solve for legal services? What are they searching for to solve for bookkeeping services? Are you ranking? And it takes work. I'll share when in 2015 as well. So it would have been about 2019 when we first opened up Empowered for X. My business coach at the time had said, Crispet, what you should definitely do is create at minimum 10 blogs. And so from the 10 blogs that we created, one was ranking really well. And up until our website crashed and stuff a couple years ago, that one blog was generating us leads organically, right? And so we want to be thinking about ways in which we can engage and find our clientele by writing what they are putting into Google, right? And so I challenge all of you. I'll give you this link. It's called, I don't know if you've used it. It is one of my new favorite answer. Yeah, it is one of my new favorite search engines for ideas around SEO, for around blogs, but just truly to understand what are some of the things or questions, if I can find my Zoom room again. Oh, sorry, I see you. Yes, one of the questions to help understand what questions my target market may be asking. So it is called Answer the Public. I will say, please go to it, create a free profile. For the free version, you get to ask you can do 3 queries. And when you do that query, you will see what people are asking. So for example, Bernadette, you're saying bookkeeping in Halifax, or bookkeeping needs, bookkeeping problems. Put in whatever you think people are searching for. Put in your service. You could even put in your service and see what comes from that, right? And it will give you suggestions about blog ideas, and it will give you suggestions about keywords people are searching for. Friends, it is 4 o'clock. I appreciate each and every one of you. What I will say is that we're in business for business, right? To do business. It's not just we want to get profits and buy. We want to keep doing good work in a sustainable way. Client acquisition is number one. So whether you're restarting, starting, or you're running your business, if you're struggling to secure a client, let's just get back to the foundational stuff. And we're here talk about what is the problem. We're going to get into that in a greater way, but go back to those elements. It matters. It may seem insignificant, but it truly does matter, because all of your messaging, all of your communication is dependent on you being able to have a proper conversation with your clientele. And as I said, it's not a money issue, it's a conversation issue that we're having. So we want to solve for it. We're excited to get into day 10 tomorrow. So yeah, I'll pause for a minute. I know I've been talking for a little bit, and see if there's any final questions before we hop off.
Like I said, it's amazing how fast that hour goes by, Chris Beth, and the amount of information that you give is like my head just pounding. Like I want to step off that bridge right there in the background and say, "Yes, Lord, I'm going to do it." Catch
Hey,
me before I hit
if you're going off that bridge, you're going with a parachute, you're going
say,
paragliding,
catch
it's
me before I
about
hit the
taking it
water.
to a new height.
Yeah, catch me before I hit the water, please.
Yes. No, no,
But
no. Oh,
you're right.
listen, I did bungee jump off of the river in the Nile, and
Oh,
that was an experience. So you could
whew.
definitely bungee jump off of that bridge too.
All the way. Ever since I saw that episode of, I think it was the Cosby Show when Hillary's husband to be jumped off the bungee and hit the wall. No, no, not going to
Oh,
happen.
I haven't seen that, but no, no.
You would
Listen,
not
I
bungee jump
think
after seeing that. But anyway, I want to say, 10 clients before 10 a.m. That's work. I don't even get out of my bed before 8 o'clock. But anyway,
Listen, and
it
today it
changed.
doesn't have to be a phone call, right?
No,
That
that's
back
right.
then it was cold calling. DM people,
Right.
get into people's DM. If
Yes.
you direct message, and it doesn't have to be unique for every single person. I'm
Uh-huh.
saying all you have to do is, hey, I just want to remind you what I do, bookkeeping. Maybe
Okay.
you and or somebody may be interested. Let's have a call.
Okay.
Send that one message out,
Oh,
and
I can do
based
that.
on
I'm
the
thinking of face-to-face or phone calls. Okay, I can do that.
it could be it will graduate to that. It could
Yes.
be that, but don't let getting on the phone deter you from
Okay.
getting into conversations with
Building that
people,
conversation. No.
right?
Yeah, great session. Beautiful. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Anyone else?
I just want to add one little thing. So in the message that I heard on Sunday, it talked about how the minister was driving and was going to be late. So he took the pooling lane and thought he could, beat some of the traffic. Got caught. Not only was he late, but then got a ticket. And he was like, if only I stayed in my lane. And he goes, sometimes we need to learn that we need to, the purpose that we have, no matter what we're looking at, we need to stay on track. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's, I guess, the idea of if people want to go to Windsor, that might be an opportunity. And I so want to feel that sense of comfort where it's just like, okay, I know at least a check is coming. But at the same time, I see destiny, I see purpose. So I'm a little conflicted, but I think conversations like this are helpful because when you said, even though you had to hire somebody while you're working, like I feel like there's work around where I could stay on focus, stay committed to the big picture, but at least there's ways to maneuver. And I'm just trying to maintain that because the one thing I don't want is that sense of regret. So Bernadette, I know you're like, if I can get the 3 clients and then I can, make that shift. I just hope that however it works out for you, you feel that you're serving the purpose, the dream that you have, and that you never feel that sense of, I wish I did it. I was just about to do it. So I just want to share that.
Hey, that's wonderful, Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley. That's excellent. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. I see the love. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you. Tomorrow is day 10. We are going to have more of these conversations. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for taking the time. And yes, the hour does fly by. But we're on mission. I love it. Stay in the purpose, right? Know why you came to this place, know why you're here, and keep investing in your business, and good things will happen. I believe it.
Amen. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you
Yes,
tomorrow.
take care. Bye.